You have probably heard of the wildly popular app called Pokemon Go that has not only been sweeping the nation, but the entire world. Pokemon is a massively successful franchise that was created by the Japanese company Nintendo in 1995. The whole point is that humans, known as Pokemon trainers, catch fictional animals or monsters called Pokemon in order to train them to battle other Pokemon trainers' Pokemon in a friendly competition. Pokemon was originally a game that could be played on Nintendo's revolutionary handheld game system, the Game Boy. After huge success, Pokemon got its own trading card game, comic books, toys, TV show, and even movies. So why is Pokemon so extremely popular now, 20 years later? Well, children who grew up in the 90s and early 2000s were very likely exposed to the Pokemon franchise in some form. For many, it was a childhood dream to become a Pokemon trainer and go on a quest to become the very best. Now, with Pokemon Go, millennials who grew up with Pokemon can actually go on their very own Pokemon journey. Allow us to show you what the craze is all about.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Tech You Out. My name is Emmanuel.
And my name is Tony.
It's good to have you all viewing with us. Today we're going to talk about an interesting game that's kind of swept the world. Yeah. What's the name of this game that we're going to talk about?
It's called Pokemon Go. You might have heard of it.
It's kind of a big deal right now.
It is.
I know several people that play it. I was actually in line somewhere the other day, and there's two people that had it on their phones as I was waiting in line. I was like, that's interesting. And then at the hotel, we went to a wedding this last weekend, and there was people playing it there. So it's everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not just little kids. You know, it's people our age that are playing it. And that's mostly just because, you know, we grew up with the Pokemon show.
Even people older than us. Actually,
yeah.
I'm going to go and rat my sister out. She plays it with her family.
Oh, yeah.
So it's cool in a way that you can do that with your family and play, because she has a son that just graduated and then a younger son. And they actually go out and, I guess they would say, hunt Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, my aunt, she lives in Texas, and you know, she's in her 50s and she plays. And at first, you know, her son got her into it, and then she actually enjoyed it. And so now she plays on her own and not just with him. But it's pretty neat. It's called augmented reality, and so it's not really virtual reality, but it is interactive. I think the main feature that you can really tell is it has a GPS system. And so, like, if you're on a street in Guyman, it's actually going to show you on that street in Guyman.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about what they call a Pokemon stop.
Okay, a Pokestop is basically like a landmark or a certain building throughout different towns.
So, like, we're here at the library. We're actually at the part behind the library. So, like, the library is a Pokemon stop, right?
Right, because it's a public building. It's considered a landmark in Guyman.
Yeah.
And so the reason they do that is because most places have, you know, some sort of place like that, and players can go and put out what's called lures, and that actually attracts Pokemon to them. So it's to help players meet
so they can interact
players
with other players.
Right.
Okay.
Right, because if someone puts out a lure, then other people can actually see that and say, oh, there's a lure there, I can go catch some Pokemon, and then they head there, and then, you know, you end up with a bunch of people.
That makes sense. Another thing that I like about the game, I don't necessarily play the game, but I know I have family members that do, but it gets you out of the house.
Yeah, I mean,
and it gets you out and about in the community hunting these Pokemon, and you get exercise. Like, you have to walk so far in order to get different Pokemon or points or something like that, correct?
Yeah, basically, like, if you're walking, you can run into Pokemon. And also you can get eggs from Pokestops, because you get free items in the game from Pokestops.
Okay.
And so if you get eggs, there's 3 different kinds. There's 2 km, 5 km, and 10 km, which is kilometer. And so to hatch that egg, if it's a 2 km, you have to walk
that many
2
steps.
kilometers.
2 kilometers. Okay.
Yep, and the game tracks your steps. And so it's actually kind of a fitness exercise thing.
So you get exercise.
Right. You get exercise. It motivates you, because you can't you know, hatch the eggs without walking unless, you know, you somehow figure out how to cheat. I've heard some people will actually take their phones and, like, tape them onto fan blades.
I don't know who would tell you a story like that. I know we talked about the positive things of this game. Let's go ahead and hit on a little bit of the negative,
Yeah.
and then we'll kind of end it up with some more of the positive. Some of the negative, I think, is things I have heard is sometimes people are distracted because they're so focused in the games. Kind of tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's just like texting.
Uh-huh.
People do it when they drive because they're not thinking. You know, they could actually kill somebody doing that. They're thinking about the game and they're not thinking about real life. And actually, they've tried to prevent that. I mean, when you open the game now, it'll say, "Do not play this while driving." And they actually have implemented a system where if you're going over so many miles per hour, it'll pop up and be like, "Don't play while
won't
driving."
let you play.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless you push "I'm a passenger," which people will just push anyway.
Yeah,
So-
but basically for where we're coming at as a communication company, we want to inform you, be careful. You know, this is a fun game and it's fun to do with the family, but do it in the right way, the right context of playing the game, and be safe when you play because it is fun. And we want people to enjoy games like this because it is a neat game.
Yeah,
I like
mean,
it.
This would be one of those things in our episode of what not to do while driving that could definitely
Correct.
be on there.
Yeah, and just be careful. I know I've heard of different things on the news where people are walking, even not necessarily even driving,
Yeah, not
but
paying
walking
attention.
into the road and do it. Know what you're doing. Know
Yeah.
your surroundings. That's kind of what I want to talk to people. And
Yeah,
I know
just
it's a
have common
negative
sense.
side of it, but the positive side is it's easy to fix. Common sense.
Yeah, common sense. Just be aware of your surroundings and know what's going on around you. That's the main thing.
That's correct.
So basically, like everything, it's good moderation.
That's correct.
so-
Yeah.
But we'll show you guys a little bit more about Pokemon Go and how it works, just so you kind of understand what the craze is all about and where it came from.
So is Pokemon Go like this? Like, let me go and pull this out. Like you get your little ball and you throw it down, and out pops the Pokemon.
Basically, I mean, Pokemon hasn't changed over like 20 years. It's been the same concept of you have Pokemon trainers and they go catch Pokemon, and
And once they catch them, they got to train them.
they train them how to fight and stuff. And it's supposed to be like a partnership between the Pokemon and the trainer. Like
So it's kind of like
friendly-
a pet.
Kind of like a pet, but kind of like a partner in a sport.
Oh, okay.
Because they have
It's like
competitions.
There's competition, a battlefield per se.
Yeah.
And you train your Pokemon, and hopefully you win, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole goal. You learn how to strategize. They have added new elements to the games over the years, IVs, EVs, which are stats, and it's gotten a little bit more complicated, but
yeah, it's way too complicated for me.
yeah.
But that's okay.
When it first started out, it was pretty simple, and then of course there was the TV spin-off, which was super successful, and that's what I grew up watching.
Yeah.
And so, you know, for people my age who grew up on the show, we always wanted to go on our own Pokemon adventure, and now you kind of can with
Yeah,
this
and
app.
it's cool because basically everybody has a cell phone,
Yes.
and it's just it's a free app, correct?
Yeah, it's a free app. There are in-game purchases if you choose to, but you don't have to.
With most apps are like that.
Right, but this one you can really actually get pretty far without spending any money. I've never been forced to spend any money in the game.
But you have spent money.
I have, just because, you know, I like the
Busted.
game, but
Basically, if you do spend money, like say you spend money in the game, it's to get you farther along in training or different equipment that you need for
yeah,
your Pokemon.
equipment. You can,
Okay.
I mean, you can get like Pokeballs and stuff from a Pokestop for free, but if you're not around one and you run out, it's only $1 to get more. So
Only $1.
Yep.
That's not that much.
yeah, though it's a penny and dime type thing that adds up over time.
Yeah, sacrifice a coffee or something every now and then,
Yeah.
and spend it on your Pokemon. Another thing that's interesting is that as you play, and the more you play, the stronger your character gets. Correct?
Yeah, I mean, you level up like in a lot of games. And the more you level up, the stronger Pokemon you'll find. And the whole point right now, since there's not like a player versus player battling system, is to take gyms.
Okay.
And so people will go to a gym, put their Pokemon in it, and then you go and you try to beat the Pokemon they left in it. And so if you can beat them, then you take the gym and you put Pokemon in it.
Oh, okay.
So that's the main battle system right now, and the whole reason you want strong Pokemon is to take gyms, which are also landmarks in your towns.
Is it true, like you're talking about landmarks?
Mm-hmm.
Is it true, like the bigger the city is, the more Pokemon are attracted to the cities?
Yeah, I went to St. Louis a couple weeks ago, and there was a whole lot more like Pokestops and types of Pokemon there. It depends on where you live. Like out here, there's a lot of fire type Pokemon.
So because we live in the desert?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
basically. But I mean, if you go to industrial areas or if you go out at night, you're more likely to catch, I think, like ghost type Pokemon or poison type or something.
Yeah, you're talking way above my
Yeah,
head.
it has to do with location a little bit.
Okay.
So
That makes sense. Different locations and cities, a lot more to choose from and get different Pokemon.
yeah, yep.
Makes
And the
sense.
more it's based on population actually, because the more people that are around, the more Pokemon there are. So at my house, because I live out in the country, there's nothing at all. Like I can only play when I'm in Guyman.
Okay.
So
And I live in Goodwell, and I know there's actually a few Pokemon stops there.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, there's a sign that we painted a few years ago, actually probably more than a few, but that's a Pokemon stop because
Yeah.
it's kind of it's a public place. It's there on the library at OPSU, and it's a Pokemon stop, which I think is cool because I helped paint that.
yeah, you're like,
So-
I painted that Pokestop right there.
That's pretty neat. It's a memorial, so that's kind of neat.
Yeah, that would be pretty neat to actually. Well, I mean, it confirms that you painted a landmark.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, and that was fun being a part of that project as far as being a student at OPSU, one of our local colleges here in the area, and we spent quite a bit of time
Yeah.
painting that, and it was neat because my friends and that were a part of that. And it was good.
We'll go ahead and we'll show them how to use the Pokestops and the lures, and kind of we'll give a little bit of a tutorial on
A little bit of tutorial.
on how to play.
Awesome. I'm gonna be learning as you're learning. Let's do
Okay,
this.
so this is basically what Pokemon Go looks like when you start it. You can see all the different streets in Guyman, which some people get freaked out and think that this GPS feature is something new and that it tracks you and all this. But honestly, there's already a bunch of apps on your phone doing this. You just can't actively see it. So this is nothing new. Your phone does this all the time anyway. So don't be alarmed.
So basically on the GPS, it's just basically where you are in the world. And with this app, there are all the apps that access the GPS. It'll say, do you allow this app to access your GPS? And you got to say yes or no. And if you say no, and then the app just won't work, right?
Right. I mean, it actually doesn't. I don't even think it asks you because it has to have it.
Yes.
But I think that's fairly understood once people get into it or they download it.
Well, I know a lot of people, they might get freaked out about this, but it's really a common thing. Same thing you use, like when you're using your GPS on your phone when you're traveling, you have your GPS on.
Yeah, I mean, even your weather app does this, but you just, like I say, you don't actively see it. But basically, this is a Pokestop that we're at right now at the Guyman Library. And all you do is you click on it, and then you spin it, and it'll give you items. And you have to hit the items. So I got a Pokeball and 2 Great Balls. And then in about 10 minutes, I'll be able to do it again. Since I just did it, I won't be able to do it right now. But I can show you how to lay out a lure, which attracts Pokemon to the area and also attracts people. So basically, to lay out a lure, you click on the Pokestop and you hit that little white button. And this is a lure module. You click it and then you push use. So now you can see this little like sparkly confetti stuff around the Pokestop. That means the lure is in use and Pokemon will be coming to the area soon. So there we go. There's one right now. So all you do is click on it And you can actually have, you can turn the AR on or off. This is what it looks like when it's off. When it's on, you can see that that's actually the table we have this sitting on. But I'll turn it off for right now. So basically, to try to catch a Pokemon, you take the Pokeball and you throw it at the Pokemon. And then hopefully you'll catch it on the first time. If not, you usually get a few more tries. Some Pokemon will run away from you. Yep, that one ran away. So it's pretty fun. It's a good thing for, you know, families or friends to go do. I know that my brother and sister and I will go and walk around in Gaiman or Hooker and look for Pokemon.
Here's
we
a
just stay
question for you,
together.
Tony.
Yeah.
So you have this out here to attract the Pokemon to you. Say you have your brother and your sister with you. Do you each have to put one of those out, or just one of you, and then it tracks them and you all three can see it?
No, just one person has to do it. So that little Pokemon that popped up right then, if somebody else is playing here right now, they would have seen that too and gotten the opportunity to catch it.
So everybody gets the opportunity?
Right. If one person lays out a lure, then, you know, anybody who is playing the game can actively try to get that Pokemon too.
Okay, that's cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, that's why, well, when my sister went to Dallas, she would go to the courthouse at night with my aunt because people would be laying out lure modules. And, I mean, you would literally have hundreds of people there that could all catch the same Pokemon. So if something really rare popped up, then, you know, everyone was really excited. But it's pretty neat. Anything can pop up when you lay out a lure, whether it be like really rare or not rare at all.
Here's a question. What's one of the rarest ones that you've personally caught?
It's hard to say. I mean, I've caught a few different ones. My best one is Arcanine, and then I've got some others that are decent. Rhydon's pretty rare. Not a lot of people have Tauros, I don't believe. Pinsir, that one's hard.
How do you know if people have a certain character or not?
A lot of it comes from prior knowledge of Pokemon, and then if you don't have prior knowledge, you kind of learn what pops up the most around you. So for example, it's really easy here in Gaiman to catch like a Pidgey or something like that because they pop up all the time. And so you get used to it, and you learn, you know, which ones you haven't seen before and which ones you have.
Can you catch the same thing multiple times?
Yes.
Does that give you more points, or what does that do when you catch it multiple times?
Yeah, when you catch Pokemon multiple times, it gives you candy. So this would be Growlithe candy, because Arcanine evolves from Growlithe. And so you can use that candy to level them up. So you actually want to catch as many Pokemon as you can, even if you already have it. And once you get so many, for the weaker ones, see, if I had 25 Bulbasaur candy, I could evolve him into a new Pokemon. But I don't have 25. So it is beneficial.
And basically that means you got to catch them 25 times. Hey, look, there's that Pokemon.
Actually, you wouldn't need to catch them 25 times because every time you catch one, you get 3 candies from it.
I gotcha.
So it wouldn't be quite that much.
Is this the same one as earlier?
I didn't look at its CP. It's the same. Yeah, it's the same type as earlier. I don't know if it's the exact same one. See, I caught that one.
Does that tapping on the screen help you catch them?
People say it doesn't, but that's my thing that I do, and I think it helps. But
Well, earlier you didn't, and you did not catch
Yeah.
the Pokemon. This time you did, and you did catch.
yeah, it's a thing that I do mostly because I played the old games where if you hit A and B really fast, it would help you catch them. And so I guess I'm kind of used to that, so I just tap the screen, like thinking that will help somehow. But my brother says it doesn't, but I don't believe him. I think it does. And so now you see that the Pokestop is blue again, so I can get more items from it. So yeah, that's why people camp out at Pokestops, is to get free stuff, so they don't have to buy it or go without. And then, of course, the lure modules, if you're lucky enough for someone to put one out while you're there. And you get items by leveling up sometimes.
And that's how you got this last item?
Yeah, the lure I got from leveling up to level 15. So I just been saving it, and it seemed like an appropriate time to use it. So
Awesome. So basically, how long does one of these stay active?
they actually stay active for, I believe, 30 minutes.
30 minutes, okay.
Yep.
And within that 30 minutes, you can have the opportunity to catch several Pokemon?
Yeah, usually like 7 or so, somewhere around there. I know that the folks that ran the Hooker Car Show just a while back, they actually had a station by the library in Hooker where they were constantly laying out lures for people to catch Pokemon all day long. So it was kind of a neat thing for the kids that weren't really interested in the cars.
So how did they have all those lures?
You can buy more, and so that's what they did. They just compensated the players that were running it and bought more for them.
Well, that's nice of them.
Yeah, it was really good. I think people had fun with it. But
So like, what would this Pokemon be called?
this one's called a Spearow, and its CP is only 10, which is really low. But
So you're gonna catch them anyways.
I'm gonna catch him anyways because I want his evolution. So like I say, I don't know if this works or not,
A,
but
B,
I do
A, B,
it.
A, B.
Yeah, that's what it used to be on the Game Boys when it first came out.
You know, that's 2 for 2 on the tapping of the screen.
Yeah, but like I say, I got 3 candies from that, and then Stardust, which helps level them up as well. And it'll
How
give you
long
the
does it
stats.
take to level up a Pokemon?
It just depends on what you're trying to level up. The higher level they are, the longer it will take. So, for example, this one right here, he requires 1900 Stardust. I only have 1300 right now. And also 2 candies for every power-up I give him. And then, you know, for this one, it's only 200 Stardust and 1 candy.
So, like, when you get those different things, those items, does it mean that all your Pokemon get that? Or do you have to assign it to a specific one of them, like Pikachu?
With Pikachu, the Stardust is how much you have in general, and then you have candies specific to each Pokemon.
Okay, so it's a mix. Okay.
Right. The Stardust is basically for everything, but the candies can only be used for that type of Pokemon.
And once you use all of that, does it stay the same? Like when you level up, does it minus it, or does it keep it at that level? Like on the Stardust?
With the Stardust, you use it up. So when you catch Pokemon, you get more Stardust. So the more Pokemon you catch, the more Stardust you get. So a lot of times, even if I don't want something, I'll catch it for the Stardust. Okay, so this is actually pretty funny, but when I set out the lure, all these kiddos showed up, and actually, because I had set out the lure, they saw that, and so it attracted them, just like it attracts Pokemon. So you guys like Pokemon Go, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so. But thank you guys so much. I appreciate that. You guys were actually a prime example of what I was talking about today. So I appreciate that. All right, thank you guys for watching this episode of Tech You Out. Hopefully you learned a little bit about Pokemon Go and what it is, and who knows, maybe you'll even try it for yourself. But hopefully it was educational for you. I know a lot of older folks didn't know what it was, and hopefully we cleared that up.
Just want to wrap up things and just say thank you again so much. Pokemon Go, I might have to try this game out. It does seem pretty interesting. I do know a lot of people that play, but if you are interested, you have questions, get a hold of Tony. She's an expert Pokemon player. I've never played, so I just know people. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time on Tech You Out.
All right, have a good one.